So there's two types of people that I typically talk to in the coaching, consulting, creator space. And I always look for the differentiator, right? It's like you have those that are busy all the time but stay broke, and then ones who actually build something that works. And for me, I look for the separator. What's the thing that separates those people that can make $50,000 a month in 6 to 12 months from now versus those that stay stuck at three, five, $8,000, 6 months, 12 months into their online business? And I always look for the separator, right? And so, like, it's not the amount of education that they have. It's not the hustle culture. One's putting in more effort than the other. It's really about having an infrastructure and having a system that does not suck. Okay. Most people go through and they just kind of guess at this. They wake up, they post random content, maybe take a few calls, and then they wonder why their business isn't moving. I get it because, like, I did the same thing for a long period of time, building an online fitness coaching business. Hired a mentor, paid a stupid amount of money, trying to figure things out. I had a ton of information, but it seemed like I continued to put more tasks on my calendar. My life shrank, business did not move. Sticky notes everywhere, like all of the things, right? But like nothing actually worked. So, how long do you go through the motions before you finally say, okay, let me cut off the limb before I bleed to death, type thing, right? And so that's where you have to create a structure that actually makes sense. Just something simple, something clean, and something you can repeat over and over again. Like when you do this, like it literally changes everything. So I'm going to walk you through it. Like I want you to see exactly how my business runs, how we do it for our clients. Like once you understand this, you're going to realize how much time you're wasting on the wrong thing. So here's what it looks like. If you look at the screen, I'm going to walk you through this first just because you'll hear me talk about this a little bit as well. Like I believe that social proof is everything, especially in the online space, right? So like online consulting business, online fitness business, and then online consulting business for 1 month as of like January 2025, right? And that was a lower month. So like this works time and time again. That's why I show you that. So here's what this looks like. I'm going to break this down. Before I dive in, I want you to understand this. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. So when I say the term funnel, I don't want you to think website, landing page, tech, like all this stuff. I want you to envision an image of a funnel. Wide at the top, narrow at the bottom, right? Like just simple. So there's really 4 layers to the funnel. I don't care what type of business you have. It could be an online business, an e-com business, a brick and mortar business. You could sell products. You could like whatever it is. It's all the same. The main things, the main pieces of a business: attract, nurture, convert, deliver. That is it. Okay. So that is like the entire game to this. You don't need websites and funnels and landing pages and 8 offers and a content calendar with all these people that you serve. Like you just need a simple system that you run really, really tight. And like that's what I'm going to walk you through. So looking at this is the top of funnel, right? Top of funnel is what we call a cold traffic mechanism. Cold traffic, very dependent on your level of awareness for marketing, right? So I'm going to act like you're a 6th grade level education for awareness. So I'm not trying to, when I'm speaking to you, I just want you to be able to digest it. So the difference between cold traffic and warm traffic. Cold traffic means that these people do not know you. They've never seen you. They're not followers of yours. You are brand new to their ecosystem. This is the first time they've ever seen or heard your name. Okay. Warm traffic is people that are currently in your ecosystem. Maybe they're on your email list. Maybe they're a current follower. Maybe they engage with your posts. Maybe they see your content, podcast, whatever it may be. That's the difference. When you create content, it needs to be an offer that is for cold traffic, meaning this will convert for cold traffic. Okay. So that's what I'm saying when I say this term, cold traffic mechanism. This is top of funnel. It really has one task, one job. Top of funnel is where your attention comes in. It has to bring you new eyeballs every single day. We run 3 assets at top of funnel: Instagram Reels, ads, YouTube. Now, why I use these is Instagram Reels is free reach. I can post a piece of content, get new eyeballs. Ads, controlled scale. Controlled scale meaning I can put X amount of dollars in and I'll get X amount of dollars out. It works like a faucet. I can turn it open by putting more ad spend in, or I can shut it down by putting less ad spend in, right? I have control of it versus with Instagram Reels, like I don't. I'm just relying on the algorithm. And then YouTube is there just because you have to build trust and it's for depth. You can only get so much education done in 45 seconds, right? So this is a little more depth. And I believe that YouTube will outlast any other platform out there. So these are the three assets that we use. Most people go through and they just like posting without any intention, right? Like they're throwing up quotes, they're using some trending audio, they're trying to go viral, and maybe posting some random value, hoping that something hits. Like that's not traffic, right? You're hoping when you post. So your content should really do one thing at top of funnel. It should attract the right person with a clear message. If I go and I land on your page, whatever platform you're using, and I can't immediately tell uh, who you help, what you help them with, and what you do, like within like 2 seconds, like you've already lost me. So we look at this as the rule of one offer, one problem you solve, one person you solve it for, one unique mechanism, right? Like that's it. You have to be hyper specific. You can't be vague. If you go and try and help everyone, you'll help no one. Okay. Like I know that's very cliche of the I can't remember exactly how the term goes, but it's like if you try and help everyone, you help no one. If you try and speak to everyone, you speak to no one, right? Like if you're in marketing, I'm sure you've heard the term over and over again. But this is how you get conversion from cold traffic is by being very specific. So reels are there to grab attention. YouTube keeps them watching. Ads will amplify both. If you're worrying about trying to go viral, you just need consistency first. I have so many clients that come in and it's like, oh, I want a piece of content that goes viral. And I've seen this across the board. The difference between going viral and having a culture is night and day. Because I could post a reel that goes viral and maybe it gets like 2-3 million views. The amount of my ideal client that comes from that won't be very many. People are on social media for entertainment, right? If I post something that's entertaining, they'll engage with it. They might become a follower because they liked it, but will they ever buy my stuff? Probably not. That's why we follow what's called a 3E filter. And I have this on here. I'll show you exactly what it looks like. So the 3E filter is basically the framework of creating content, right? The framework of creating content is using this 3E filter. So this is what it looks like. You have to educate, you entertain, you empathize. So when you educate, you're teaching them something that matters right now, right? And when you entertain, you're stopping the scroll with personality and humor. And then you have to empathize. You're showing them what you understand about the pain they're in right now. Now, it's important to use all three of these in your content. Even though I can almost guarantee you the least amount of views and least amount of engagement from the content you create will be your educational style content because people aren't there to be educated. They're there to be entertained, right? Now, when you post entertaining content, you will have the most views, the highest reach, the highest engagement, but the least amount of conversion. So why would I be focused so heavy on going viral, creating nothing but entertaining content from people that will never buy? It'll just saturate your followers. So when you do post something with a call to action, it'll never convert. I would much rather, and like I currently do, like I have people inside of my mentorship program that have $10,000, or I'm sorry, that have 10,000 followers that make $100,000 a month. And I have people that have 100,000 followers that make $10,000 a month, right? Night and day difference. But this is the framework you follow. And then you also look at the other piece. It's like, what does my content need to be about? It needs to be relevant. You need to talk directly to the pain that they're in right now, not the one you think they're going to be in someday. And then you have to show proof. Like, don't tell, show, right? Proof is everything. Much like at the beginning of this video, I wanted to show you I've actually done the thing that I claim that I can do. And then identity. People can go through and rip your funnels, rip your content, rip your call to actions, rip your lead magnets, but what they can't do is steal your voice and your identity. That's what separates you from everyone else that tries to do what you do. Okay? So that is what top of funnel looks like. Now, from top of funnel, it's like, what happens? Can you see a difference at top of funnel? Absolutely. I'm going to show you. This was a client right here. Okay. You can see he went from $35,000 to $201,000 a month in revenue. How did we do that? Simply by changing top of funnel. Every piece of content he was creating was speaking to everyone. He was not very narrow at all. He was very vague. Changed up who he was speaking to, made it harder for them to get qualified to be in. And what happens? Changes the game, right? Targeting at top of funnel is everything, because if your top of funnel is broken, all of your downstream will never work. So after somebody goes through top of funnel, right? Let's say they've engaged with your stuff. Now they become a follower. Now they're engaging with your stuff more frequently. Now you move to middle of funnel. Where I commonly see coaches, consultants, creators drop the ball is they try and sell right here. You don't sell here. They're not warm enough yet. Middle of funnel is the warm traffic mechanism. This is where people become a lead, okay? This is where you take a stranger and you turn them into a buyer going through this process. It's very simple. You show up, you educate, you prove that it works. Like every piece of content you create in middle of funnel, every story, every reel, like it should literally make somebody say, damn, this person knows what they're talking about. Through every piece of content we create in middle of funnel, we answer these 3 silent questions, because these are the questions that people they're subconsciously asking every time they see something and they're thinking about buying it. Can I trust you? Do you understand my world? And can you actually get me results? Those are the questions that you answer in your middle of funnel. Okay. Now, the best tools that we use for middle of funnel: retargeting ads, VSL, and then more content. Now, top of funnel content, middle of funnel content are extremely different. But what this looks like is like our retargeting ads, our best retargeting ads are testimonials, social proof, like podcast style interviews, like all of that in an ad form. When it comes to a VSL, don't overthink it. This doesn't have to be some high production thing. It's literally you talking to whomever it is that you're talking to about who you are, what you do, how you help, and the common things that they've tried and why they haven't worked, and how your unique mechanism solves the problem. Like that's it. You're not trying to sell through the VSL. You're trying to educate through the VSL and then lead them to a call to action, which could be whatever call to action you decide to use, whether it's DME keyword, book a strategy call, like whatever it is. And then middle of funnel content is, again, we're answering those 3 silent questions. So like short VSL, retargeting ads, client wins, bite-sized lessons that solve micro problems. And yes, as you're going through middle of funnel, like you're posting daily, like not motivational quotes, not recycled trends that you see. Like middle of funnel is real content that reinstates who you are, what you help with, and proof that you can actually do the thing. Like that is it. Repetition through this will build trust. Like most people go through and they quit after they post for 7 days and they don't get any likes, right? Like this isn't about a vanity thing about getting likes. Like it is about making you more money. Like that's it. So as people go through here and they engage with this content, and then they lead to a call to action. So again, a call to action doesn't always have to be book a call. A call to action is getting the prospect to raise their hand saying, yes, I am your person. Yes, I'm interested in more information. How you do that is through stories, through content, through polls, through a video sales letter, like whatever it may be. Having them take action on whatever it is. DM me keyword, comment keyword, reply to my story, vote on my poll, book a strategy call, like multiple facets of being able to have a call to action. So let's say that someone engages and they take action on whatever call to action it may be. Now this person becomes a lead. As they become a lead, they move to bottom of funnel. Now at bottom of funnel, this is your hot traffic or your sales mechanism. This is where you sell, not until then. Until they actually go through, have been nurtured, follow through with a call to action, having a conversation is the first thing that you do. This is where you make money. It's not magic. It's literally two things. You're having a DM conversation to qualify the person to see if they're a good fit and if you can actually help them. And then you're moving them to an offer, whether that's booking a call, trying to sell in chat, however you want to do your calls or however you want to do your closing. Like that's it. Like typically if you're in a position where you're trying to scale, you have a setter, you have a closer. Like if you do have that and you don't have those two roles dialed in, like you're going to be leaking money somewhere. Like you will hemorrhage cash. This is why I always say, I never recommend someone have a closer or a setter until they're doing at least $50,000 a month in revenue. Because you haven't learned the skill yet, so you can't teach it to someone else. Going through and having that DM conversations, like DMs are not about small talk. Like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Like this is typically how it's framed in regards to like the DMs, right? It's like, hey, I saw you came from XYZ Reel. Like, just curious, like, how did that content help you? Or like, what's the biggest bottleneck you're dealing with? Like, think of having that DM conversation as like structured discovery. Like we want to dig really into what it is that they're dealing with. Like, what are they struggling with? What have they tried before? What's it costing to stay stuck? Like go through everything with a fine tooth comb. And you can put in a financial qualifier if you want by asking those questions very subtly. Let's say you're a fitness coach, for example. Ask about their job, but we're tying it back to fitness. So it's like, oh, what do you do for work? Do you have a sedentary lifestyle or are you kind of active? We're looking for this for two reasons. Yes, we want to know if it's a sedentary lifestyle or not, but not really. What we really want to know is what's their job? Do they have the money to pay us if we can solve the problem? Same with if you're like a business coach, consultant, anything of that nature. It's like, cool, what's your current monthly revenue? If they're under the mark of what you typically help with, then you just DQ them and send them a free thing, right? There's no reason to continue the conversation. You're wasting your time. Doesn't matter how good the offer is if they can't afford to buy it, right? And that's not coming from a place of being egotistical in any way. That's you saving your time. Like your job is to protect your calendar, especially as you scale. So as you go through, let's say you book them on a call, they're a qualified fit, right? Like this is the whole game. Going through having DMs, and most people lose the deal in the DM because they ask super weak questions. But let's say they're qualified. You push them to a call, right? Being on the call, like so many people have the misconception that like the price will kill the deal for them. It doesn't. Like confusion and value will typically kill the deal faster. For your offer, it needs to be a scalable offer. What I mean by that is it needs to be priced around that $5,000 to $15,000, depending on access to you. Okay. So again, where I see people, like I've seen people go through and make like $30,000, $50,000 a month, and then them drop the ball right here. You have to reinvest cash back into top of funnel. Like for us, we reinvest 15 to 30% back into top of funnel off of every profit. Like this keeps top of funnel going. Like if you don't do this, which I've seen, is like, I made $50,000 this month. 2 months later, they're like, I have no leads, I'm broke. Right? You take the profit, you reinvest it, and it keeps the flywheel going. So let's say you pitched them, you have a scalable offer. This is where I see most businesses stall, right here. It will always be feast or famine if you don't have this freaking dialed in. Like, this is like the delivery mechanism. Again, like so many people just like stall right here. They'll go through and they sell this big promise, and then they either one can't deliver it or can't fulfill it. Like, you cannot do that. You have to look at the process. And again, this has to be super scalable. As somebody becomes a customer, it's like, what is your delivery mechanism? What does it look like? Okay. So you want to get them the fastest win as possible. For us, it's like, all right, let's onboard them within the first 24 hours. This is what we're doing, is we're removing what's called the zone of doubt. The zone of doubt is the time frame between when you take payment and you have the first touch point. This is where you get the most refunds, the most chargebacks. Like, people just want out because they talk themselves out of the decision that they already made. So how you avoid that is have a very short zone of doubt window. Onboard them. What happens next? Are they getting access to a course? Do they go into a community? Do they get a coaching call? Like, what does that look like for you specifically and your business? You want to be able to get them the fastest win possible. You want to clear checkpoints. You want them to have consistent support all the time. You don't want like 30-hour modules, like just simple execution with small touch points. Like, that's it. For us, as we go through, like, we are tracking everything, right? Like, the client success team, like, who's showing up to the calls? What tasks are they completing? Like, are they making progress, or are they just kind of stalling? And like, if they start to stall, like, we re-engage and pull them back in. Like, every win becomes content. We basically productize the content. So as we get people results, it's like, now that becomes middle funnel and top of funnel. Like, that's it. This will shorten the sales cycle for people. It's just proof, consistent proof, stories, ads, like in middle funnel, all across the board. But again, this feeds the top of funnel again. Like, that's how the entire process runs. So the other stall point that I typically see is like down here. And this is kind of a bolt on, but so many people miss this. Is like, what happens when you get someone results, right? Let's say you're a fitness coach. Somebody came in, they lost, they went from 28% body fat down to 12% body fat. They've been with you 4 months. They exited the program in the best shape of their life. When clients finish, you don't just let them go, right? There has to be ascension. When I say ascension, I don't mean trying to sell some upsell BS down their throat, right? I'm saying give them access to the next layer. Maybe it's more strategy. Maybe it's more access. Maybe it's a bigger result of some kind, especially if you're in a B2B space, helping people make more money, because there's always another level, right? Like, you don't just let them graduate and walk away. So what typically happens is that now there's an upsell. Whatever upsell that may be for you, there has to be something there, because now we're looking at LTV, so the lifetime value of the customer, right? If we're just churning and burning people every 4 or 6 months, like, it becomes exhausting. The best and cheapest client you'll ever have is somebody that's already a client. There's zero cost of acquisition, rapport's already built, they already believe in it because they've seen the results that you can provide. So like, those are long-term clients. So looking down, let's look at this in like a simplified version, right? Like, I know that's a ton of information. So let's simplify it. Like, this isn't a funnel. I look at this more of like a flywheel. And here's how it really compounds, right? Like, you have traffic, you have traffic would be like up here, right? Like your avatar, whomever it may be. Then they're coming in one of two pipelines, which would be content or ads. And then you're leading everybody to a DM. Then you have a call. Then you pitch them your offer. Then they become a client and you get them results. Then there's proof. And then there's more traffic back to top of funnel. Like, that is literally it. It is like a flywheel. The majority, like 15-30% of the cash you make gets reinvested back into growth, so the business doesn't stall. Like, everything is feeding everything through a flywheel. If something breaks, it's one of five things. It's either the message, top of funnel content, the retargeting in middle of funnel, the discovery process on a call, or your client delivery mechanism at onboarding. And you have to fix it in that order. If you can't go through and sketch this out on like a piece of paper, you will not actually have a business. I struggled with that forever. And it wasn't until I did this that it literally changed the game. So there's tons of moving pieces down here, right? This is where I typically see people land. Like $0 to $5,000 a month, $10 to $25,000 a month, $100,000 plus a month, right? And it's they all have very similar problems. 0 to 5,000, typically lost, confused. They have that broke mindset. They're doing tons of cold outreach. They're afraid to invest not in them just themselves, but also ads because they don't really know. Their offer is very poorly positioned, meaning it's not cold traffic friendly. They can only sell it to people in their ecosystem. They're not that great at sales. They have imposter syndrome and they're not charging what they're worth. Typically, a lot of that is a byproduct of just having imposter syndrome because they're not new. They haven't seen it yet, right? At 10 to 25,000 a month, they're getting 2 to 6 clients a month. They have a lower high ticket offer, meaning 2 to 4,000 for their offer. It's anti-scalable. They're only doing organic marketing. They're a little better at sales. It's a one-person operation, but it's very inconsistent and unpredictable. Typically, all of that is a byproduct of being a one-person operation. And then you look at business owners that are up here at 100,000 a month, 4 to 6 clients a week. They have a $5,000 to $10,000 offer. It's very scalable delivery. They're using paid traffic. They're having consistent traffic. They're at a 50% profit margin. They have a happy team, happy clients, and they're prioritizing growth because the CEO can be the visionary and focus on growth and not work in the business, but work for the business, right? I've worked with well over 2,300 plus coaches, consultants, creators. I've seen this time and time again. You probably fall in one of these 3 buckets. Okay. So it's what's the difference? How do I get from one place to the other? Well, everybody is on one of 2 paths. You are currently on one of 2 paths, right? Let's say you're on path A. For the short term, you go, you learn things on your own, you watch free information, you try and piece it together. And in the short term, you're super happy because you avoid discomfort and you're not being pushed. You're not spending any money investing in your growth, investing in the information, right? But in the long term, you're freaking miserable because 6, 12, even 18 months down the road, you're still stuck and you've wasted a ton of time with no result. And then path B, for the short term, you're unhappy because you started to spend money on yourself, investing in yourself, learning your skills, sharpening the craft, maybe investing in ads. And it's super uncomfortable. Yes, it sucks, but you want to get where you want to be a lot faster. And in the long term, you have an actual business. It's no longer a side hustle. You're making, 100,000 plus a month in revenue. And these people will lap path A people time and time again. And so I really want to just kind of leave you with this. We pay for every lesson with either time or money. And the currency that we choose to pay with is the one that we value least. But the beauty of all of this is the choice is always yours to make.